Hello, this is the Airborne Express presentation by Group 3. To begin, we'll look at the industry structure and some of the recent trends that have taken place there. It's important to note that it has been a growth industry, and that's fueled by the demand of businesses to be able to deliver packages and goods much faster. Overnight in the morning, overnight in the afternoon, whatever the case may be, there's growing demand for this service. Even though revenues have grown 20 to 25% per year, it's important to note that profits have grown at a lower rate. And that's because these industry participants are competing on cost. They all do roughly the same thing, so it's difficult to differentiate other than on costs. There has been a very high service standard set in the industry where the large participants are getting their deliveries on time in the upper 90s, 99%, 98% are meeting their guaranteed delivery times. So there's been a significant investment in infrastructure, automation, tracking technology. These large companies have bought and maintained their own fleet of jets and trucks. There's been consolidation, there are fewer participants, and a larger part of the market is dominated by few players. So FedEx, UPS, and Airborne comprise 85% of the market. And it's homogeneous. Everybody's doing roughly the same thing with some slight tweaks, but those slight tweaks are important, as we'll note coming up. Competition has been fierce on price. There's no loyalty amongst customers. They will just go to the next low-cost carrier, assuming that the service is on par with their expectations. So there's very low switching costs from a customer standpoint. It's the power of customers. Smaller companies have had to adapt to serve unique customer needs. So things like heavy freight or two-day delivery for price-sensitive customers, or having international expertise that nobody else has. There are also high barriers of entry. So we don't really foresee a lot of new players entering the market due to the capital investment and the incumbent advantages. So how has Airborne managed to do it? One of the tweaks that I mentioned is they don't deliver as early as everybody else, and that's actually afforded them an ability to perform virtually the same thing at a little slower pace at a much lower cost. And they've also had this holistic approach of capturing small wins here and there that all accumulate into them being a cost leader. And they have a huge comparative cost advantage, as we'll see later. This just highlights a few of the ways that they've captured value for themselves by having lower costs. They've also been highly selective in the customers that they try to serve. They know what they do best. They've built their technology in such a way that serves those large business customers with high volume. They look for repeat customers that have delivery points and pickup points in major metropolitan areas, so they're not having to go into obscure or rural places. Another cost saver is they don't have retail centers. So that's just another piece of overhead they don't have to worry about. Here's our cost analysis. The main takeaway in the left-hand table is that they are able to perform approximately the same level of service with much lower cost inputs. In fact, they can deliver twice as many packages per day per employee than FedEx. On the right-hand side, we've extrapolated what Airborne's cost structure theoretically looks like based on their lower labor inputs, lower costs for flight or landing fees, and no advertising costs. The bottom line here is the most important. The profit margin is actually slightly higher than FedEx, but they're able to capture that at a lower cost, 21% lower. And in a cost-sensitive industry, that's very important. Here are some of the strategic moves we think that they might be able to make. They could partner with a ground carrier, but they should only do that if they can maintain the same level of quality at a lower cost. Everything they do has to be very cost-driven or cost-motivated because that's their niche, that's their specialty. They could explore a partnership with an international expert. There might be some synergies there with a company like DHL. We wouldn't recommend that they go in alone because that has not been successful for UPS or FedEx. One other thing they might be able to do on a product differentiation standpoint is leverage their on-site warehouse capability. They have an advantage there that nobody else has, in that they can deliver goods to the airport or to their hub faster than anybody else. They might be able to upcharge for that. They've been able to survive and even thrive versus the major market players because they've adopted a philosophy of less is more. They've captured value in their cost structure. Everything they do is from the bottom up focused on cost savings. And they serve a target market that for FedEx and UPS to try to compete on cost, they would have to significantly alter all other aspects of their business, which they're probably not willing to do. Thank you for watching our presentation.